Hello and welcome to yet another cast. For you today I have a game on Seton's Clutch. We have Team 1 up here on the top, Team 2 down here on the bottom. Let's start with the plan introductions for Team 1. In the air slot for Team 1, going with this in this brown we have out of 4 going UF and opening first land. I think that is also second land, though not too sure. Though on the Seton's air slot it is pretty normal to delay for the air player to delay their air factory quite a bit. Anyway, on the rock slot, in this hot pink going Aeon, we have Guillaume opening first land. On the mid slot we have in orange Saw or Caesar going Siren and opening first land. And last for Team 1 in the north we have on the beach slot Maro going Seraphim in this Dark Hope military green. I think I already pointed out that they go Seraphim, but they open first land. Now, for Team 2 down here in the south, on the rear air slot we have Elon Mox going Seraphim in this Regal purple and opening first land. On the rock slot we have Folly going red, opening first land as a Cybron. And on the front slot in the Piss Yellow and opening first air we have John Smith going Seraphim. And first bomber by the looks of it, or well, early bomber. And last but not least we have Ospole going for the for Burgundy red as a UEF and opening first land. Also already moving towards the middle as is usual for Setons. Now, about Seton's Clutch, you have this very large amount of reclaim right here in the middle. Currently don't have a mod that shows how much it is, but it's a lot. And the matter is that the front players go build their first factories and basically immediately go for this, with the beach players coming in to support against, well, other beach players and also just get some of their own reclaim from that. In the meantime, the rock players go for an early transport and drop these side islands with these 5 maxes, while the air player skips the T1 and T2 stage basically completely and goes straight for T3 air, which can be achievable at roughly 9 minutes. Well, I mean, exact timing depends on the exact build the player goes for, but somewhere 9 to 10 minutes is generally where the good players with the highly optimized builds tend to land. Okay, something that I missed is that there was apparently the early bomber play out from John Smith that I pointed out with the early bomber. Seems to have gotten some engineers back here that were building this hydro, but also a few maxes right here, and I think also an engineer that was building a factory. Very unfortunate. Yeah, we can see 2 dead engineers there. And let's see. Some dead unit I think here as well. Yep. Of course the pigeons, so yeah, there was some units killed there. Some bombers now coming also out from Ospole, probably to harass their mirror opponent Guillaume. And Folly has dropped the side island and decided to maybe keep going with that drop. There are some labs on that and an engineer, and yes, that is actually going for the side island now. So going for a bit of an aggressive play against their opponent on beach. Going very, very aggressive. I think Mero might have seen that, since they did send a Inti out into the general area where that was flying by. But not too sure about that. It seems like a weird place to send an Inti, so not too sure what that was about. In the meantime, commanders in the middle are now skirmishing a bit while getting the reclaim. Let's take a look. most of the reclaim, well, no, never mind, reclaim is currently basically even between both teams. Both teams at around 9.7 k, sorry, mass reclaimed. Team 1 now getting slightly ahead, but Team 2 catching up, so there is really no major difference in the amount of reclaim collected. Let's see how the drop is going. Okay. Folly has decided to move down with that drop. Okay, they actually dropped the engineer down up here, and they are capturing these maxes. But the transport got has been scouted and has also been shot down by these anti-air guns. However, capturing these maxes up here is definitely some progress. That's 6 mass that Marrow currently is not collecting. That is going into the coffers of Folly for no cost, as those have been captured. Well, there's the energy cost, but that's not too much. But the engineer has been reclaimed by Marrow, as Folly has not been paying attention, though. Again, I think that was probably worth it just to deny that 6 mass income, as that can be very big at this stage of the game. Now, in the meantime, in the middle, Tsar is forced into the water by the comms of Ospol and John Smith. John Smith now also going into the water due to the higher HP pool on Marrow's ACU. They just moved in to support, but not quite in time to allow Caesar to stay out any longer, I guess. But middle currently turning a bit more stale. By the looks of it, the drop on the side island currently is being denied by Ospol, and they also have a transport out, getting some engineers dropped there. Grabbing that for themselves. That would probably allow them some higher eco potential, as they do get access to 5 additional maxes that would usually go to the rock player. But we will have to see about that, how that goes. In the meantime, Navy getting started up in both ponds. First naval units out for Folly, Marrow, and also Ospol, with the with the first one currently still underway for gear. Some scouting going out for Elon Musk. They are currently building their pigeons, as per usual for Seton's Air. At 8 minutes, the air player, as already pointed out, skipping the T1 and T2 stage for their air units going straight for T3. And that generally requires 2 T2 pigeons to not completely stall on that. I expect a very similar thing going on up here, yes. Though Auto 4 is slightly ahead. That is not too surprising if we take a look at the ratings. Auto 4 has 600 rating points more, being 2000 rated, while Elon Musk is only a 1400. Which is definitely a major difference in rating. Though looking at some of the other ratings, not quite as big as the rating gap between Folly and Morrow, with Folly being 2400 and Morrow being 1500. So that's definitely a massive favor for the Southern team and the Northern Navy with Folly. And I suspect that may also be visible in economies. And it is. Folly currently at 108 mass income, followed by Otto for 102, Elon Musk at 100, and after that we have DM at 73. And Folly is now over 110, so they are actually had 40 mass compared to their mirror opponent, Guillaume. and even more to their actual opponent, Maro. So that is definitely very impressive. Ospol somehow trailing behind at just 50 mass income, even though they did drop the side island. Well, okay, they are currently still claiming the maxes, but they seem to be behind slightly on max upgrades currently. Yeah, the core maxes and those are core maxes. But yeah, those have not been upgraded yet, while their mirror opponent has already upgraded all the maxes to tier 2. And most max, and I think also majority of maxes have already gone tier 2 for their normal opponent. Though the rock player gets some additional reclaim right here. That does help with all the upgrades, so fair enough on that. Now, Northern Navy currently looking slightly in favor of Maro, as they seem to have killed off most of Folly's units, just with a large amount of submarine spam, as Folly did not make an early submarine investment, and focusing on mostly frigates instead. However, with this development having shown itself, they did decide to go for a more submarine-heavy approach. Now, T3 Air has been achieved by Elon Musk. They have their P-Gen, also the T3 P-Gen already out, and are currently building the second one. On the other side, we have Auto 4, and they did actually already build their second T2 P-Gen and are building their second air factory already. So they are somewhat ahead on that. They are, however, slightly behind on eco, looking at this. Elon Musk was able to pull ahead on that. So I guess that's where that investment went for them. Just some slightly higher eco. And maybe some slightly less efficient build, but both air players are currently still very close. So I don't think it's too important. Though third air factory is already going out for Auto 4, so I guess they are pulling ahead now. Yes. Now, Metal has turned very static with a small firebase having been erected by Caesar, or Saw, with some PD and some shield generators. I also think they ceased their spam production as in order to allow more ecoing, I suppose. A very reasonable move. If land turns static, there's no real point to keep producing, if your opponent doesn't actually use it. And there is also a slight amount of firebasing that has been built up by Ospol in the middle for the Seton team, with 1 PD and a buskill to prevent missiles from killing that. Though against a Cyprian opponent, as in this case with Tsar, I do not believe a singular buskill to be sufficiently effective to help against potential MMLs. Though I also don't think that MMLs will be coming, as T2 has been achieved by Tsar, and they currently show no signs of actually going for T2 land. In the meantime, something that I somewhat missed is that Ospol actually managed to temporarily naval lock Guillaume with a naval force that was larger early on. However, they have been pushed back by the use of hover spam and torpedo bombers. And thus, currently Guillaume is able to get back into the navy, building up a quick torp launcher to prevent any early aggression, or any, well, not really early anymore, but any naval aggression into this position again that would kill off the factory. But T2 has been achieved on the navy by Ospol, so They do have access to cruisers. Would love to see some destroyers against this hover spam. Or maybe just even some more frigate spammers. I believe that would probably be more effective to destroyers in this case. But we'll have to see if they do that, anything like that. They are currently still sitting at one naval factory. Now let's take a look at the Northern Navy. Oh, well, never mind. There is major use of top bombers right now to get rid of the cruisers of Ospol. Currently just flying overhead, dropping their torpedoes, and killing off this whole naval stuff. Slowly withering away at that. But in the meantime, in the north, Navy seems to have swung in favor of Folly, as they seem to have pushed back Mara right now. Though Mara does have a T2 and has split a destroyer, which will be very effective at dealing with the large amount of destroyers that are now built up by Folly. I guess in response to the early high destroyer focus that their opponent went for, not high destroyer, high submarine focus that their opponent went for early on. And destroyers are generally just very good against T1 submarines, so not too surprising there. T2 currently on the way for Folly at 85%. Engineers supporting that currently at pause, so I suspect that Folly may be mass stalling. Well, never mind. Maybe they were upgrading maxes, or, well, I think I see what they were doing. They built this T3P gen and thus were power stalling in the process of building that. And couldn't actually afford the couldn't afford assisting that upgrade as heavily. Guess that makes sense. But top bomb was also being utilized somewhat by Maro to try and get hold Folly back. Though with T2 now being on the field for Folly, we will have to see if there is going to be if that is going to remain effective, as the possibility for them to build cruisers is now coming up. There are no destroyers out for Ospol, or well, a single destroyer, and that is now helping in dealing with the hover spam. It's actually not overkilling that stuff too much, so I guess a destroyer isn't too bad for this objective. However, gunships are being that are coming out from Auto 4 are now being used to take out the side island and I guess allow Guillaume to actually claim that, after it has been denied early on by Ospol. Though that's not too much of a loss for Ospol, as those maxes were not upgraded, just sitting at T1. And this max is actually still sitting at T1, surprisingly. I guess they forgot to upgrade it. Well, it happens. Let's take a look at economies. Team 2 currently pulling in 900 mass in total, compared to around 650 or 640 for Team 1. So Team 2 currently significantly ahead on mass produced. I suspect that maybe due to Folly being very much ahead, but currently Elon Musk also seems to be pulling far ahead of their opponent Auto 4, which is definitely going to contribute to that as well, and may even allow them to win air in the long game. Let's take an ASF count. There is an airfight coming in, I think. They are currently sitting at 19 ASF compared to a whopping 33. So Auto 4 currently definitely ahead on the air game and chasing down the ASF of Elon Musk. And also just wiping that air now. Though that is happening above the cruisers of Ospol. Wait, no, that's not Ospol's cruiser, that's actually John Smith's cruiser. John Smith has gone into the southern pond to help out. currently building and has gone straight for T2 Navy, currently building cruisers. Something that I somewhat missed is that there was a Continental drop out from Auto 4 into the main base of Forley, or, well, not directly the main base, but this, on the shoreline of that. And that is definitely proving to be an issue. Forley has, however, achieved T3 Navy and is now just bombarding that with a battleship. That will definitely be a effective solution for this problem. May take some time, but it's definitely going to work. However, a Ravager has been built up in here, and that will cause heavy damage to the main base of Forley. 2 T3 pigeons have already died, as well as the air factory. And 3 of the, well, no, technically 4 of the 5 maxes on the side. This one is still alive, but the other 3 core maxes and this max up here have gone down to this. Now let's take a look. How is power looking for Forley? They have been given a T3 pigeon by Elon Musk, sharing the means of production or something like that, I don't know, with their teammates, allowing them to, or granting them the power to actually build everything they need. But this Ravager going down now to Battleship and Destroyer of Empire, out from Forley, out from Forley's Navy, and with that this attempt of a landing will be denied, I think. And though, let's take another look at economies. Forley is actually still the second highest eco player in the game. Elon Musk actually put up behind that now, or actually succeeded has a higher eco now. That's the word I want to use, or well, one way what I can use, or on top. And though that is not too surprising considering the fact that Forley, as already pointed out, lost their core base. So it's not too surprising that they are slightly lower in eco now. Though due to that, I think that Morrow temporarily managed to pull back into the and push Forley back a bit, due to Forley possibly having a higher having to focus their APM on their main base, and also maybe being a bit later on the T2 Navy part. But they seem to be currently back in the process of retaking the Navy, so that's not going to last. Another thing that happened is that Caesar actually got in the Navy as well. They were apparently given some energies by Marrow, as that is a Seraphim naval factory. So the Navy on the northern point being completely still remaining completely Seraphim. But that is still going to allow Ursa to pour their eco into the Navy. In the meantime, the Southern Navy seems to have completely turned in favor of Guillaume, as they are currently just crushing the remaining naval units out from Ostpol with large amounts of Vespers. The response of Ostpol to that are Coopers, which seems to be a pretty decent call. Though I think destroyers are more effective in dealing with sub-hunters. However, don't quote me on that, I'm not too sure, I might be wrong there. And I'm pretty sure that Coopers are definitely way cheaper. But on the note of destroyers are being built up by John Smith to help out with this as well, so those are definitely being built. Now a major drop coming out from Saar on the side here, going into this side position of Ostpol. These maxes currently still not actually capped, though in the process of going T3 actually, surprisingly. However, all other maxes seem to be capped, so maybe, well, most of the other maxes, so maybe just a slight oversight there. But the drop was successful and factories are now being quickly thrown up. to spam out units. However, the cruisers of John Smith are proving to be a slight issue, but Saar being quick to throw up some TMD to help defend against that. As TMD is the proper counter to cruiser missiles, of course. And that also seems to be proving very, very successful. However, Ostpol has also started building up some T1 bombers, and those will most likely be successful in killing this stuff off. So there won't be too many consequences of this drop happening, as proper units are sent to deal with that very quickly and has been spotted. So the situation seems to be completely under control. Now, in the meantime, in the northern pond, the firebase that was thrown up by Saar is currently being bombarded by a bunch of cruisers that are built up by Folly. So the firebase will definitely not last. And I think the Omni that was in there has also just died to that. There's however T2RT now being quickly thrown up by Saar to quickly create a massive no man's land, preventing Foil to actually get in there. Now the problem with that is that those can reach up until there, while the battleships of Folly can almost reach there and are quite safely out of range. What I'm getting at is that battleships do outrange T2RT, so those will be able to just take out this RT bank. Folly complaining that their team apparently is not scouting very actively, with this area being completely unscouted, I think? Yeah. Well, okay, never mind, now it has been scouted, but there was definitely a lot of scouting missing. There were some Northerners that just flew over from John Smith, so it was scouted. Not by air scouts, but, well, scouting is scouting, I guess. But Folly also, in a continued effort to prevent any naval activity from harassing the Navy, has started building aircraft carriers as well to support the Navy. And this push, aircraft carriers of course being the best anti-aircraft units in the game. And just shredding any top bombers that are coming overhead is well with the ASF out from out from Elon Musk supporting that as well. An airfight going on. Currently it seems to be going in favor of Elon Musk, actually. Well, never mind. I think there were also some, there are some SAMs in the base of Saar, so that has, I think those also put in some damage. So Elon Musk is actually losing this one. Let's take another look at the economies. Both Elon Musk and Folly actually still far ahead of their opponents. Elon Musk's actually staying ahead of Folly right now. And no one in the northern team achieving the 400 mass income that both Elon Musk and Folly have already surpassed. Let's see, is there any shenanigans being built up by any of these players? Currently cannot see anything coming out from Elon Musk. Is Folly building anything? Well, they are rebuilding their main base, but that's not too surprising. Also, they still have quite a bit of reclaim left here, right here, but there are already NGs reclaiming that. So that will be quickly utilized to build up more stuff, I guess. Probably more T3 Navy looking at this massive production, massive amount of build power on that. Jesus, that's a lot of build power. Now, let's see if there's anything going up for the northern team. Nothing out from Auto 4. Currently nothing special in the terms of experimentals out from Maro, though there is now a hover spam production out for Jensins. Folly apparently using these aircraft carriers to produce some strat bombers. A very, very smart call, as that does make a lot of sense. But I think the aircraft carriers have all... Wait, no, there's the aircraft carriers right here in the back that are also doing shooting down quite a bit of stuff. But yeah, there was some strats out from Folly flying around. Yeah, they are. And I guess that those were built up by the aircraft carriers, and those also got quite a few kills. Especially this one. 31 kills, though only 1.6k mass killed. I guess those were just UNGs. But still. Now another airfight going on, and that also again seems to be in favor of Auto 4, though this time a bit more over the aircraft carriers of Folly, with those pumping in some damage and shooting some stuff down. But not enough to actually allow Elon Musk to win that. Now let's again see, is there any experimental stuff going on? Yes, Saar is currently building a Monkey Lord. Is there another Monkey Lord being built up? No, I don't think so. Is there any counter experimental on land? No, I don't think so either. No. Though Elon Musk, not Elon Musk, god, I'm getting completely confused with names today. I'm completely sorry about that. John Smith is what I wanted to say. Has been gifted UEF tech and is currently building a quantum gateway to get that nice UEF, those nice UEF RAS boys, as Seraphim does not get access to RAS. See, is there anything going out from Guillaume? Does not look like it right now. But the Southern Navy also seems to have stabilized at this moment. So, I mean, Tempest would probably work out. There are battleships out from Guillaume, with currently some Neptunes out for Ospol. Neptune's not very effective in dealing with battleships, but I'm not sure if those have been scouted, so... Well, I mean, let's take a look. Okay, they are scouted at this moment in time, but they may have been built up beforehand. Battlecruisers being outranged by battleships and thus generally losing in a proper engagement between the two, as they generally are not allowed to fire, and with the lower HP pool they don't really stand a chance then. But battleships now also coming out from John Smith, and a Atlantis having been started by Ospol. The UEF aircraft carrier and submarine and naval experimental all in one. But I just saw the message, the Monkey Lord of Saar has been finished. It's currently still AFK, but maybe it's gonna get an order. Also, John Smith currently just in chat pointed out to Ospo that battlecruisers are not the way to go right now against battleships, pointing out the thing I just said. But already summits being built up by Ospol, so they are currently responding to that appropriately. Building up some battleships. Sorry if you heard that, I don't know. Guess I have a bit of hiccup or something like that. Some naval engagement going on in Northern Port. It's currently looking, well, it's not really looking in favor of Maro. Currently can't really tell who is winning this, but Folly is being pushed back a bit due to the hover spam, with battleships not being very good at dealing with hover spam, as battleships have one very, very high damaging salvo with a long reload, though I am aware that that varies between factions, with Cypern having a not too long reload, but it's still pretty long and not very effective in dealing with T2 hover spam. But there are quite a few frigates that are dealing with that hover spam, and I think that will most likely be sufficient to just take out these Yanzines. But there are also more battleships coming in, so... well... okay, to be fair, I think that Northern Team, so Marrow and also Tsar are currently losing more battleships than Folly is, so Folly is slowly winning this flank. Let's take another look at the colonies. Folly at 485, Tsar at 250, and Marrow at 357, so technically the Northern Team is ahead on eco that is invested into the Northern Pond. Or, well, the eco of the players that are invested in the Northern Pond. But with it being two players, that's also two separate eco investments and generally just investments in all the stuff that players invest in. So it's not too surprising, or I wouldn't be too surprised if Folly is currently actually investing more into the Navy. Now, in the meantime, the Monkey Lords that have been built up are pushing through the middle. They are moving on, and they are about to reach these walls that have been built up by John Smith. The walls are not much of a blockade against experimentals. And these pontoon guns right here in the front for the Monkey Lords now opening up on the spam and PD that was built up by John Smith. Taking that stuff out. The PD has actually almost completely died already, and now it just died. Okay. With the Monkey Lords taking almost no damage in return. But now being bombarded from the LC by the battleships and cruisers out from John Smith. And some renegades actually that were built up by Folly are moving in as well to support. So the team is making effort to stop that. In the meantime, John Smith also already evacuating the commander, trying to not die. A very valiant effort. And seems to be pretty... and the first Monkey Lord did go down. The second one currently under attack from basically everything in the book. Some Wolfus now as well. And also naval bombardment out from Folly as well. Getting into that as well. So I think the Monkey Lord will die before it gets into the main base of John Smith, and I was correct. There was also some PD thrown up here quickly to help defend against that, and T1 bomber spam has been started by Elon Musk to help with that as well. T1 bomber spam being a very normal response to a experimental without proper counters, as especially with this kind of accurate T1 bombers are easily built up and spammed up, and they provide a decent amount of damage for their cost and build time. And they can easily swarm everything that isn't flag and just keep sinking in damage. Now, more hover spam just pushing into the navy of Folly right here, up in Northern Pond, and that currently seems to be taking out, or well, heavily damaging some battleships, as the chaff units that were tasked with dealing with that are currently either far behind or have been wiped out, though there are more frigates coming into support against that. And Folly built an experimental. Where did Folly build an experimental? Right here, it was a Monkey Lord. Fair enough. Now we also see some mass swap farms coming up. Some T3 mass swaps just kept with mass storage out from Elon Musk. With double cap max of course as well, as you would expect to see. And also some T3 mass fab farms out from 40 as well, right here. Well, one mass farm right now, I think, yeah. Yeah, currently nothing up here. Now, top bombers being used by OSPO to help defend against the Aeon Navy. That is actually very effective, as Aeon Navy does not have any AA. Well, it does have AA, but only on on dedicated AA units, which are the Shout on T1, the Cruiser on T2, and the aircraft carrier at T3. None of which have been built up, though there are some SAMs that were built, which would provide very effective, but of course aren't mobile and can't support the Navy when it's pushing. However, in response, there are also Solaces being used by Guillaume. Solaces being the special T3 torpedo bombers for the Aeon, which drop quite a few torpedoes in there while flying over, and being a very, very deadly unit, though generally being used to snipe commanders and not for normal naval purposes, though I think they have been rebalanced a while back to also be more effective in just dealing with navies, so fair enough. But all in all, Guillaume's navy does not look too healthy, and that I think that maybe that they may be out of navy again. In the meantime, most normal navy, by the looks of it, for Maro seem to have just died now, with the majority of units in the water now just being hover. Though there are some destroyers and battleships still out. And Auto 4 built an experimental. It is a Novax. The defense satellite that is almost never used defensively. And where is that moving? Let's see. Looks like it's going for the secondary aircraft right down here of Elon Musk. If that goes down, that would of course provide a massive issue for their mass production, not for the mass production, for their air production, but also the mass production, as there are a lot of unshielded mass fabs in this area. With them also building a lot of just T2 mass fabs in the grid that you usually use for double capping maxes, just to get up more eco. Let's take a look at what the eco is currently looking like. They are sitting at 556. Next highest is still falling at 516, followed by Guillaume at around 500. Are they going for anything special? Not right now, no. Though they are getting some defenses for the base. Especially tele-defense with their T2PD, and sorry for all that scrolling. I'm trying to be more aware of it, but sometimes it still happens. Now, I think a fight is brewing up here in the northern pond right now, with both air players posturing currently. And I think for the first time Elon Musk may have a larger ASF count. At 244 against 217. Yes, they are actually ahead on ASF now. Impressively. Novax seems to have retargeted onto the base of John Smith. They are currently still out of a shield, outside of a shield, which is not really recommended, which I would not recommend when there is a Novax flying around, as that is a easy way to just die. There's an Omni right here that is now in the hands of Elon Musk, providing proper radar coverage, but John Smith definitely needs to get under shield. Massive amounts of cannons now being used to assist the shield, which is currently upgrading to a tier 3. And has been successful in doing so. And okay, there are no shield generators going up. Though if I remember correctly, the actual best counter to Novex isn't mass T3 but mass T2 shields, as those are generally sufficient and a lot cheaper. At least that's what I recall hearing in one of the tournaments from the casting pros. So I am going to just blindly trust that. Now the Atlantis of Ospol being used very aggressively, though I am confused as to why it isn't submerged, as with this, especially when facing battleships, it is a very open target. I think it also took quite a bit of damage from these sub-hunters, as it got a bit too close, but those have put back, so it is going to stay alive. But still, I think that a Atlantis, unless there is a major air problem where the A is needed, which I don't think is the case due to all the flak from cruisers and battleships, or just the fact, or alternatively, if you just want to get the air units built inside out, I don't think it's really worth having the Atlantis above surface, since this way it can be easily tackled by battleships, which we don't want. About that. Airfight may be brewing in this area, or maybe not. I think Elon Musk now just has numbers that they are intimidating to Auto 4 to just not do anything. And here's the Monkey Lord that I pointed out earlier from Folly, with 6,000 mass killed. That's impressive. Right, I think that just caught out the main base of SARS, so that's what happened there. And mass aircraft carriers are being utilized to prevent any air shenanigans from getting them Mara back into the Navy. And of course also just providing air protection, since those are still just aircraft carriers to build air units as well. I think I just missed a massive airfight between Elon Musk and Auto 4, though I think that has been won by Elon Musk. Auto 4 now going for Tally. Maybe trying to snipe something, I don't know. They currently do not have any upgrades that would be useful for that. And Guillaume, losing Navy, has decided to merge. Okay. Well, I mean, fair enough, though. Well, okay, to be fair, there wasn't much to be done anymore. Yeah, they were building a Tempest. But yeah, I think they probably lost their Navy properly now, so I guess it's fair that they are leaving. That has been given over to Auto 4 now. I think they finished Tally. Yes, they did. And they built a nuke. How's it looking now with nuke defense for the Southern team? There is a nuke defense right here in the middle for John Smith. There is nuke defense out for Folly. There is actually no nuke defense for Elon Musk. And okay, there is one for Ospol. Are all SMDs loaded? Yes, I think they are. That one isn't, that one is though. And there's actually a Scathus going up for Folly. So Folly going for Game Ender. What's the eco at? Well, they are sitting at over 500 eco, so I guess fair enough. Let's see what else is going up. Okay, yeah, there is a nuke, and it is now loaded once, though currently not being launched. And by the looks of it, Maro actually lost their main base as well. Just to maybe the Monkey Lord, maybe to just the battleship fire out from Folly, I'm not too sure, but they decided to just, in their desperation, spam out Yanzi, not Yanzi, it's just spam out Suis, which is probably, which might prove surprisingly effective, as Suis are very good at dealing with battleships. They are very cheap, and you can easily spam them, and in their large numbers they can prove very hard to dodge, even though they are indirect fire units. And being T1 RT, they also still have decent DPS. And yeah, we actually have a battleship going down to that. Some complaining going on in Russian in chat, though I have no idea what that's about, as I do not speak Russian. However, out of 4 decides to control K. Though, since they do not immediately die, I suspect that they did not normally control K properly, but instead, well, auto-fought, you could say. And I think Maro bowed out as well, yes, and with that the Seton team actually wins the game. I hope you enjoyed this cast. I'm gonna be casting more, so if you enjoyed this, maybe like the video, or subscribe if you want to be notified when other casts come out. And yeah, I hope to see you again in a future cast, and till then, bye!